And Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong opposition to this trio of pro-polluter bills that we're debating today. These bills just double down on the Trump administration's commitment to raising American electricity prices by discriminating against clean, cheap energy. They prove that Republicans have never been for an all-of-the-above energy strategy, and they don't care about fixing the insanely high cost of living that is crushing families across this country right now. The only thing Republicans, I think, care about is making their fossil fuel friends even richer. All of this comes a few months after Republicans passed their big, ugly bill. That law will cause American utility bills to go up by about nearly $300 per year. And that's on top of the nearly $29 billion in electricity bill rate hikes that utilities have requested just since the start of President Trump's term. All this from President Trump, who promised to cut Americans' electricity bills in half. And that's just another one of the president's broken promises. President Trump and House Republicans also claim to care about China, particularly about beating China in the artificial intelligence race. And that requires getting as much power onto the grid as quickly as possible. But the big ugly bill will do the opposite. It will instead cause electricity capacity to decrease by more than 2.5 times the size of the entire Midwestern electric grid. And Trump's law will render the United States unable to meet growing power demand or to compete with China. And all this doesn't factor in the enormous toll that Trump's tariffs will take on America's energy bills. A recent analysis found that Trump's tariffs will cost your average American family $2,300 each year. That's $2,300 that families need to pay rent, to buy groceries, and to afford clothes and school supplies for their kids. But Trump decided to make everything more expensive, even the energy we buy. The inconvenient truth is that Republicans don't want to acknowledge, and that is that clean energy can compete with fossil fuels. They don't like that, so they're trying to put their thumb on the scale, and that's where this week's bills come into play. The first bill we're discussing right now, H.R. 3062, the Cross-Border Energy Bill, was first proposed way back in 2013 to respond to the energy politics of the 2010s, those years. It's simply irrelevant in this day and age. The Keystone Pipeline has been dead for 4 years, and the Canadians are not interested in building energy infrastructure connecting our two nations thanks to Trump's tariffs. Yet this bill would gut the federal government's ability to review the environmental impact of oil and gas pipelines that cross into Canada and Mexico. Now, currently, the federal government reviews the entirety of a cross-border oil pipeline, but under this bill, the review would be limited to only 1,000 feet crossing the border. There would be virtually no federal review for natural gas pipelines running from Texas to Mexico, and this will make it easier to export American natural gas to liquid natural gas facilities in Mexico, which again will drive up utility prices here at home in the United States. Finally, the bill creates a massive loophole, allowing any existing cross-border facility to expand without any review whatsoever. A pipeline could be expanded by 10 times, dramatically increasing its environmental impact, and there would still be no review. If Republicans want to get serious about permitting reform, they need to work with Democrats to advance policies that will fix the way we permit and plan our nation's grid. So later today, we're going to consider another bill, H.R. 3015, that would reestablish the National Coal Council, something that Energy Secretary Wright has already done. So instead of using floor time on anything important, like maybe trying to fix the affordability crisis that's strangling middle-class America, Republicans are wasting time passing a bill to do something that's already happened. And then after that, the third bill, H.R. 1047, the Grid Power Act, would require the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission to allow electric grid operators to prioritize connecting fossil fuel plants to the grid over connecting clean energy power plants to the grid. Now, this is just another way Republicans are tipping the scales towards fossil fuels over wind and solar energy. Taken together, Mr. Speaker, these three bills will only continue to raise Americans' energy bills, and in some cases do so while also removing the guardrails that keep our communities safe and healthy. So I strongly urge opposition to all three bills, including the one we're debating right now, and I reserve the balance of my time, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.